Good day. This is Andy speaking, welcoming you to watch a 2025 update to the Expert Field Medical Badge Testing Instructional videos. This video is the Warrior Skill Task 8, Resection in Military Maps, Part 1, Resection Instructions. The video was recorded in September 2025, and tasks are performed to the June 2024 EFMB standards recorded in MEDCoE Pamphlet 350-10. A special thanks to 64th Medical Detachment for demonstrating this task and filming the video. These videos are filmed to enable local unit training and testing and are not affiliated with the EFMB Test Control Office.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Sergeant Roses, and this is WS8 Resection in Military Maps. So I'm going to get into explaining how to do the map and compass method of resection, and then later on we're going to get into doing the topographic symbols, the contour lines, basic map colors, and terrain features, and you'll see that later. All right, so let's begin with resection. So to do the map and compass method, there are a couple of steps that you need to follow. You need to follow them in order. The first step is to orient your map. You will take your compass out of your pouch, open it until your compass is flat with the magnifying glass sticking up. You're going to set it in the center of the map, aligned to one of the grid squares or grid lines. You're going to have the top of your compass facing north and the bottom of your compass facing south. If the wire is aligned with the vertical grid line, you know that you are aligned. Next, you're going to rotate your map with the compass on top of the map until your grid north faces or is aligned with the magnetic north. And that's how you orient your map. The next step, you need to identify your two well-defined points. For this specific area, we do not have well-defined points out in the open, so we have stakes as placeholders. So you're going to come up to the window, and you're going to center yourself into this divot. There will be a mark here. You're going to center yourself, and you're going to verbally identify point 1 and point 2. Point 1 and point 2. Highly recommend working from left to right. It's easier to write it down and have everything nice and neat. So now that you've verified your points out in the open, you're going to move back to your map. There will be defined points on the map already. And what you will do is you will identify them as such. This one, since it's on the left, you know that's point 1, and you're going to verify. This is point 1. This one is point 2. Or, alternatively, you can write down which one is which. Now that we've identified our points, we're going to move on to grabbing our azimuths for both of these points. So you're going to take your compass. You're either going to use the compass to cheek method with your compass as such, or you're going to use the block or flat surface provided and set your compass on it. Make sure to take off any magnetic items or metal items so it doesn't interfere with your azimuth. And you're going to shoot your azimuths to both. You're going to center yourself onto that block, onto that marker, and inside of the divot. Shoot your azimuths. I just got 25 for my first point. Second point, I got 65. So now we're going to take those azimuths, we're going to write those down on the paper provided. Remember I said our first point, we have 25. Our second point, we got 65. Now that we have our magnetic azimuths, which I'll note right here, we need to convert those to grid azimuths. To do that, you'll take your map and look at the bottom right-hand corner. You'll see your declination diagram. Your declination diagram will have your GM angle. The GM angle for this location is 4.54. We do not use decimals in landmass, we're going to round that up to 5. So I'm going to place 5 right here and 5 right here. Well, how do we convert our magnetic to grid azimuth? Well, if you look on the other side of the 3 norths diagram, you'll see to convert a magnetic azimuth to a grid azimuth, you're going to add your GM angle. So for these magnetic azimuths, we're going to add 5. Plus 5, plus 5. 25 plus 5, 30. 65 plus 5 is 70. Now that you have your grid azimuths, we need to convert those to back azimuths, right? So how do you do that? You either add or subtract 180 to your grid azimuth. So if your grid azimuth is below 180, you're going to add 180. If it is above 180, you're going to subtract 180. Both of our azimuths here are below 180, so we're going to add. So 30 plus 180 is 210. 70 plus 180 is 250. Now we have our back azimuths, right? Next, we need to plot our back azimuths. We're going to take your protractor, ensure that it's oriented properly, not upside down, backwards, or sideways. And you're going to take your protractor and you're going to center it on the point that you want to find your back azimuth, or that you want to plot your back azimuth. You're going to center it on that point and ensure that the 0 for the degrees is facing north and 180 is facing south. Align it as best as possible. Once it's aligned, you're going to take either a straight edge, like a piece of paper, or your other protractor, and you're going to run it through your point and where your degree azimuth runs off the protractor. Remember, we're using degrees. So as you see here, we have the straight edge going through the point, and our back azimuth is 110. We're going to align that. And where your straight edge and your protractor intersect, you're going to draw a tick mark. Then you're going to draw a line between or through the point and the tick mark that you have just created. Apologies. You're going to repeat those steps for your second point. Remember, we're using our number 2 back azimuth for our second point. So align, make sure it's north and south, oriented properly. Take your straight edge, right through the point and your azimuth, 250. Make your tick mark and draw your line. Notice how there's a point where these lines intersect. You're going to make a mark and notate that that is your current location. Next, we need to plot that location. Actually, I'm going to keep this open. So you're going to take your protractor and note that the map that we're using is a 1 by 50,000 scale map. So you need to use the 1 by 50,000 scale triangle on your protractor. Now we know that we're in this grid square because that is where our point lies, right? When we're plotting points, we work from right to left. Or sorry, right and then vertical. Some people say down the hall, up the stairs. So for your first number, because we start in the bottom left-hand corner, these lines intersect. Your first number, since we start across the hall or right, your first number will be 79. Leave some space because you're going to need another number later. Your second number, when you go up and look to your left or right, is 98. You put 98. Leave some space. You're going to take your protractor, remember 1 by 50,000 scale. You're going to place it in the bottom left-hand corner of your grid square. Zeros on zeros aligned with the grid lines. Remember, we work right and then up. We're going to move our protractor to the right until the vertical line meets or goes through your point. Ensure that these lines, or this line, is aligned with your horizontal grid line. You'll note that the vertical grid line that we started with runs through the number 9. I know it's hard to see, but it is. So your first number, since we work right and then up, is 9. 799. Your next number, since we work vertically next or up, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. It's right on the 4. Your second number will be 4. So altogether, your 6-digit grid will be 699984. And that is how you do resection military maps.